Have you ever thought that changing a tire could be an epic adventure? Picture this, a first-time tire changer, let's call him Bob, found himself in the middle of what we'll call the flat tire fiasco. It was a day just like any other. Bob was cruising along, humming his favorite tune, when suddenly his car began to wobble. The dreaded flat tire had struck. Now Bob, being a man of action, decided to face this challenge head-on, like a knight preparing to slay a dragon. Bob approached his car, his chariot, if you will, with a sense of purpose. He retrieved his trusty tools, the jack and the lug wrench, his sword and shield, in this epic battle. He stared at the flat tire, his dragon, with steely determination. The stage was set for the showdown. Then came the moment of truth, the first lug nut. Bob, with wrench in hand, attempted to loosen it. It didn't budge. He tried again, putting all his might into the effort. Suddenly it gave way, spinning off like a top. 1 down, 4 to go. The battle was not yet won, but our hero was not deterred. With each lug nut, Bob's confidence grew. He was no longer a mere mortal changing a tire. He was a warrior defeating a formidable foe. The air was thick with tension, the rubber of the tire hissing in defeat as he changed it. Finally, the last lug nut was tightened, the tire replaced, the dragon slain. Bob stood victorious, a changed man. He'd embarked on an adventure, an epic tale of man versus machine. He had not just changed a tire, he had conquered a challenge. Our everyday lives are filled with such adventures, moments of triumph hidden in the most mundane tasks. All it takes is a bit of grit, a dash of determination, and perhaps a flat tire. So, buckle up. It's time to embark on the amazing journey of changing a tire. Before you dive into the action, you need the right tools. A knight wouldn't go to battle without his sword, nor would a chef whip up a feast without his trusty spatula. And so, you must arm yourself for the tire-changing challenge. First, there's the jack. This trusty device lifts your car off the ground, giving you the space you need to change that pesky flat tire. Next, we have the lug wrench. This tool is your key to loosening those stubborn lug nuts that keep your tire firmly attached to your vehicle. And let's not forget the star of the show, the spare tire itself. It's like the understudy waiting in the wings, ready to save the day when the leading tire can't go on. Each tool plays a crucial role, like actors in a well-rehearsed play. And remember, a job well done requires the right tools. With these tools in hand, you're ready to conquer the tire-changing world. Now, let's plunge into the action with the first step, loosening the lug nuts. You might think this is a simple task, but oh no, my friends, it's an art, a dance between man and machine, a test of wit and muscle. Imagine, if you will, that each lug nut is like a stubborn oyster, clinging tightly to its pearl. That pearl is your freedom, your ability to get back on the road and continue your journey. But first, you must coax the oyster open. You'll need your lug wrench for this task. This is your oyster knife, your tool of persuasion. Position it on the lug nut, ensuring it's snug and secure. You don't want to strip the nut. That would be like cracking the oyster shell and finding no pearl. A disappointing and frustrating experience, I assure you. Now the dance begins. Apply pressure to the lug wrench, turning it counterclockwise. You might need to muster up all your strength for this, channeling the power of 1,000 suns, or perhaps just a really determined weightlifter. If the lug nut is particularly stubborn, don't be afraid to use your foot or body weight. Picture yourself as a graceful ballerina, using your whole body in a performance of the lug nut loosening ballet. Feel the rhythm, the push and pull, the resistance and eventual give. Remember, each lug nut is a unique individual. What works for one may not work for another. You might encounter a lug nut that's been through the wars, toughened by the elements and the passage of time. But with patience, persistence and a dash of brute force, you'll get it moving. And then, there it is, the sweet moment of victory, when the lug nut finally starts to turn. It's a small but significant triumph, a testament to your tenacity and determination. Congratulations! You've just completed the first step in your tire-changing journey. You've successfully loosened the lug nuts, you've persuaded the oyster to give up its pearl. But remember, this is just the beginning. The road ahead may be long, but with each turn of the wrench, you're one step closer to your destination. Now that the lug nuts are loose, it's time to lift your car into the sky. Well, Not literally. But let's raise it high enough to swap out that flat tire, shall we? First things first, let's talk about your jack. This handy tool is your ticket to elevation. But remember, we're not looking for altitude here, just enough height to get that flat tire off the ground. So find a stable, flat surface to place your jack. This isn't a time for guessing games. Your car's manual will guide you to the exact spot where the jack should be placed. Align it correctly and start cranking. As you do, you will see your vehicle start to rise as if by magic. But it's not magic, it's your determination and elbow grease. Now, here's where it gets a bit tricky. You need to remove the flat tire. Remember how you loosened those lug nuts earlier? Now, they should come off with ease. Put them somewhere safe. You'll need them again soon. Once the lug nuts are off, the flat tire should slide right off. Be prepared, tires can be heavier than they look. Now it's time to introduce your spare tire to your car. Position it on the hub, align the holes, and slide it on. Here's a little tip. You might want to give your spare tire a pep talk. Tell it that it's stepping into some big shoes and it needs to carry you safely until you can get a new tire. Now remember those lug nuts you put aside? It's time to bring them back. Hand tighten them as best as you can. We'll secure them properly once the car is back on the ground, and voila! You've successfully replaced your tire. But wait, we're not done yet. Remember, every step of this process is just as important as the last. It's all about taking it one step at a time, just like in life. And remember, it's not about the destination, but the journey. So let's continue this journey together. Our last step is to tighten the lug nuts and bring your car back down to earth. Now you're in the home stretch of your tire-changing journey, but don't let the excitement rush you. It's crucial to ensure the lug nuts are tightened securely. We're not just spinning wheels here, we're ensuring safety. You've heard it said that the devil is in the details, and it's no different here. The lug nuts are small but mighty, and they hold your tire in place. To tighten them, you'll need to use your lug wrench. Remember that star pattern we used when loosening the lug nuts? It's time to dance with the stars again. Starting with one lug nut, tighten it as much as you can. Then move to the next lug nut in the star pattern and repeat the process. This helps to ensure an even distribution of pressure, keeping your tire balanced and secure. Once all lug nuts are tightened, it's time to bring your car back down to earth. Slowly and carefully, begin to lower the jack. As the car lowers, keep an eye on the tire. It should sit firmly and squarely on the ground. Once the car is fully lowered, give the lug nuts one last tighten for good measure. This is not a race against time, it's a pursuit of safety. If you've done everything correctly, your tire should be secure and ready to roll. But remember, always double-check your work. A few extra moments spent now can prevent a world of trouble down the road. Now, your car is back on all fours, but your journey doesn't end here. It's a good idea to check the tire pressure and to take your car for a short drive. Listen for any unusual noises and feel for any unusual vibrations. If everything checks out, then congratulations, you've just changed a tire. And there you have it, you've just changed a tire. Give yourself a pat on the back. You've overcome a challenge, learned a valuable skill, and ensured the safety of you and your passengers. Now that's something to be proud of. Just like any epic adventure, it's important to reflect on our journey and learn from it. So let's recap the steps we've taken on our tire-changing escapade. First, we faced the flat tire fiasco head-on, embracing the challenge rather than shying away. Next, we geared up, gathering our tools and preparing for the task ahead. Then, we mastered the art of loosening lug nuts, applying just the right amount of force. We moved on to jacking up the car and changing the tire, a feat of strength and precision. Lastly, we tightened those lug nuts and lowered the car with grace, completing our mission. Throughout the process, we prioritized safety. We ensured the car was on level ground, we used gloves to protect our hands, and we double-checked our work. So let's take a moment to pat ourselves on the back. We've learned a valuable skill and proved to ourselves that we can tackle anything. Remember, every challenge is an opportunity for growth. So the next time you find yourself with a flat tire, you know you've got this.